Hiya, I'm Shamel Olwago, but you can call me Shem. Today I'll be reading from my book, The Pillars of the Governed Mind, the Architecture of Civilizations and How It Shapes Your Experience. This is the part where I read through a few things in my own words, and it's for more listeners than readers. So, without further ado, I'll begin. Chapter 1. The Pillar of Education. What this pillar is. Education is the first pillar most of us come into contact with. It's where we begin to learn what is true, what is right, and what is expected. How to think, how to behave. It does not begin in a classroom, it begins in our homes, our environment, our early interactions, and the language, cultures, and energies we are surrounded by. Education is not just something we attend, it's something that we are constantly receiving. The word education. Education from Latin, educare, to raise, to train, or educere, to draw out, to lead forth. At its root, education carries two different directions: to place something into you and to draw something out of you. Simple understanding, education is both what you are taught and what is brought out of you and that experience. A brief history. The modern form of education, as many experience it today, did not always exist in this way. Before structured systems became widespread, learning often happened through apprenticeships, mentorships, family knowledge, and direct experience. People learnt by doing, observing, and being guided over time. There was more variation, more flexibility, more connection to the individual. I often liken this to how I learned to cook. It was in a setting that I was familiar with. It was an environment that I was able to explore and able to experience things. And over time, by listening, doing, watching, observing, I then formed my own database of information to be able to cook. So as societies industrialized, the need for coordination increased. Larger systems required people to arrive at set times, follow instructions, and work within defined roles. And education began to reflect this. Two strong influences shaped this shift. First, military organization, with its emphasis on discipline, routine, hierarchy, and following instructions. And second, industrial factory systems, with their time schedules, repetition, efficiency, and output. These influences helped create a system that could prepare individuals to move into those environments. So this is where we were able to get a sea of factory workers or a sea of people who were ready to, create weaponry during the wars or any other given thing that we felt like we needed to produce en masse. Learning shifted from an individual exploration to a group-based progression. Falling into formation was literally like the thing to do. From skill and interest-led to curriculum-led. from guided development to measured performance. It's like if you didn't make the cut, you were out because you were that chink in the chain, that cog that didn't quite run as smoothly in a bigger machine. It became something that was bigger than the individual. And as that happened, the individual became smaller. This does not mean that education lost all value, but understanding where its modern structures came from helps people to see what it was shaped to serve, and where the individual's path may not have been the primary consideration. How the governed mind shapes education. Every system of education reflects the direction of thought it sits under. And that's that dome piece that we're looking at. So it's what sits beneath it. If a system is shaped by stability, structure, and survival, then education within that system will prioritize consistency, roles, function, and preparedness. But this preparedness I'm talking about is going to serve the reflected direction of that system. So that's why we find ourselves prioritizing stability, prioritizing structure, and prioritizing survival mode. If a system was shaped by curiosity, exploration, and expression, then education would look different. It would prioritize creativity, questioning, and an individual's direction. Simply put, education does not exist on its own. It reflects the governed mind above it. The direction at the top flows into everything beneath it, energized with an individual's God spark, our God spark. What this means for you. There are many ways to learn, and you already know this. Some learn by listening, some by doing, some by watching, some by feeling their way through something, and some need structure. That's true. Some need space. Others may need repetition or freedom to explore and experiment, or a mixture of all. It's clear that it's not a one-size-fits-all. And it's for us to be able to navigate this spectrum on an individual level. Learning has always been a spectrum. What often happens within structured systems is that learning becomes narrowed into one main way, a way that can be measured, repeated, and compared. If you naturally learn that way, you move through it with ease. But if you don't, something else begins to form. You may have experienced feeling like you were behind, feeling like you weren't getting it, or feeling like something about you didn't quite fit into the type of education that you may have experienced. You were never incapable though, but because your innate way of learning was not being met, that's how your experience and the reflection of that experience made you feel. And that's probably how you were treated. And often this doesn't stay in childhood. It moves with you into adulthood, into how you see yourself, and into what you believe you are capable of.